Well, here we are back again. Sorry for the slightly prolonged delay there. It is now 9:32, and if I can, well, these things tend to try us. I can't see what the temperature is at the moment, but nonetheless, it is not cold today. Not cold. But it looks a bit overcast, and it looks as if it's destined to pour with rain. So, oh, wonderful! Thank you. So let's just take a look, shall we, at the weather, because it is so variable at the moment that in Lewis we can expect a high of 17. No, not bad, not as good as it has been. 17, light rain, only light rain, thank goodness, because the downpour the other day, was it Wednesday, I guess, that really belted down, and it belted down for what seemed like 24 hours. There's a gentle breeze today. Right now, the temperature is 14 degrees. It's going to nudge gently up as the morning progresses, 16 degrees at 11 o'clock, and staying that way until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Well, it's not going to go any higher. It says 17. I suppose it might just nudge 17 at some stage during the day. We can expect some of that light rain, that drizzle, starting at 11 o'clock this morning. That's in about an hour and a half time, and going through until 4 o'clock, when we could get some thunder and lightning again. Oh gosh, yes, we could. And that's going to be the scene for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, we're going to get some more thunder and lightning. 15 degrees is a bit cooler tomorrow. 16 degrees on Sunday. And that it won't get any warmer than that for the rest of next week. Dipping to a low next Friday to 15 degrees. So that's where we stand with that. Let's now turn our attention to the newspaper headlines and see what's going on in the front pages. The summation is aid, too little, too late, and Israeli soldiers told to annihilate Hamas. So that's not cooling down, despite all the diplomatic activity of the last 48 hours. The Guardian, warning that relief convoy for Gaza is too little and too late. An image of pure destruction leads the Guardian on today, showing a lone woman making her way through the rubble. That was once a residential building in the Al-Zara district of central Gaza. As civilians in the enclave continue to wait for essential supplies, aid agencies are warning that when it does arrive, it could be too little and too late for many of the territory's desperate population. An agreement was reached on Wednesday to allow a small number of lorries to cross into Gaza through the border with Egypt on Friday, with further deliveries being dependent on aid being delivered without the involvement of Hamas. The front pages also carry a moving account from a London-based Israeli man whose parents were killed by Hamas. He and his memories of growing up and visiting the town of Netiv Hazara, close to the Gaza border. It's hard to think of this place as a war zone, he writes. The Daily Express. In the name of God, save the children. Same plea as was made yesterday. An image of grieving man clutching the body of a dead child dominates the Daily Express as the paper quotes aid agencies call for a ceasefire and says there are fears 600 children in Gaza could be buried under collapsed buildings. in the wake of airstrikes. The Daily Mail. There is no forgiveness for this thing, only total annihilation of Hamas. You will soon see Gaza from the inside. Dramatic address by Israel's defense minister to troops massed on the border. Do you have the boss from hell? says the Daily Telegraph. No, I don't actually. I'm really a very good boss. He's very mild. The Daily Telegraph. Get ready to see Gaza from the inside. The US issues a worldwide terror attack warning as Israeli troops are told to prepare for invasion. And the Daily Telegraph also leads on Israel telling its troops they will soon see Gaza from the inside. The country's defense minister, Mr. Gallant, traveled to the front line to place soldiers on high alert with a fiery speech. Outside of the region, the United States issued a rare worldwide terror alert warning, the paper says, as tensions mounted and anti-Israel and anti-Western protests spread across the Arab world. The front page also carries an opinion piece co-written by former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Oh, dear. Oh, let me take a look at myself on sneeze. Oh, sorry about that. There must be a little dust in the air, I think, because I don't really have a cold. Let me go back to that. The US issued a rare worldwide terror alert warning, the paper says, the paper being the Mail. The issue, the US issued a rare worldwide terror alert warning as tensions mounted and anti-Israel and anti-Western protests spread across the Arab world. The front page also carried an opinion piece co-written by former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, in which he likens the war in Ukraine to what is happening in Israel and says that the UK must support both. The Financial Times. Israel's allies warn citizens to leave Lebanon as regional tensions rise. Fears of the Israeli-Gaza war erupting into a wider conflict in the region mean that Israel's allies, including the UK, are urging their citizens to leave neighboring Lebanon, a stronghold of Iran-backed Hezbollah militants. The Financial Times reports a text sent to Britons in Lebanon read, "The situation could deteriorate quickly and with no warning." The paper says, dominating the front pages is an image of Israeli soldiers standing by their tanks on the Lebanese border. Gosh. The Eye. It says, it's got a funny headline, really. Rain, go away. The UK suffers one of its wettest days. A threat to life in Scotland and the North of England and Midlands. And Scorsese, 3.5-hour films. Why not? Political King, exclusive. Charles III's Israel speech was personally scripted by the monarch, not government. Fear grows that the war will spread as the UK and the US tell their citizens to leave Lebanon. The same story leads the Eye, while a number of bullet points sum up other developments in the conflict. The paper notes that UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has met with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for emergency talks over the situation, and also reports that the UK government has accused BBC of coverage of the war of undermining diplomacy in the Middle East. The Times. Do your bit to ease Israel crisis, Sunak urges the Saudis. The Times leads on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's two-day visit to the Middle East, focusing on his meeting with Saudi Arabia's Mohammed bin Salman. The paper says Mr. Sunak urged the Crown Prince to use his leadership in the region to support stability, both for now and the long term, and fears that and fears simmering tensions could erupt into a regional war. The paper also reports that obesity in young children is amongst the lowest in almost 20 years. Some good news amongst all the mayhem, I guess. The Mirror. It says the Mirror on the Gaza front line, but its headline is COVID inquiry shock, reckless and callous. The PM's own advisor branded him Dr. Death over Eat Out scheme. While an image of two injured children dominates the Daily Mirror's front page, as the paper highlights the ongoing wait for aid by civilians in the Gaza Strip. The paper's headline focuses on a quote from the ongoing COVID inquiry, in which Prime Minister Mr. Sunak was branded reckless and callous over the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, launched to try and boost business. The paper says Mr. Sunak, who launched the scheme as Chancellor, was dubbed Dr. Death by one of his own advisors over the August 2020 initiative. The newspaper quotes Naomi Fulop, whose mother died of COVID the following year, as saying the trade boosting scheme contributed to the loss of thousands of lives. I'll have to explain that to me. Metro, I'll quit while I'm winning guilty pleasures. It's a play on words. It's about Gwyneth Paltrow. Armed police swoop on a water pistol boy. Away from the conflict, the Metro leads on the story of a 13-year-old boy who was rammed off his bike by armed police who held him at group gunpoint, inches from death, after his bright blue water pistol was mistaken for a real gun. The paper says the child, who was having a water fight at the time, has been left having nightmares. The Sun. My Paul died happy smoking a spliff. Hubby pays tribute. The Sun focuses on a memorial to Paul O'Grady, who died earlier this year. It says O'Grady's partner, told those gathered in memory of the TV star that he had passed away peacefully as the pair smoked cannabis together at home. The Daily Star. Cops arrest gems raider who fooled shop staff by standing in the window for hours pretending to be a mannequin. Freeze, it says. The Daily Mail, meanwhile, the Daily Star leads on the arrest of a man who is accused of pretending to be a mannequin in a shop, and then stealing gems after staff went home. Now, there are more notes about what's in the papers, but I think that we should leave it there just for the moment. Let's see what time it is. It's quarter to 10. We will be going to New York at approximately 10:30. And for the moment, we will just digest. What's going on? Um, the issue of the Middle East crisis is that it is of sufficient seriousness, apart from the loss of life, and a massive terrorist act, is that it is the trigger to suck all sorts of other countries into a conflict. You may recall, no, you won't recall, well, you will if you've done your history books, the assassination of Franz Joseph, Crown Prince Franz Joseph, in Sarajevo, and how that triggered the First World War. I've stood on that bridge, and I've crossed it many times. And I've stood on it at the spot where he was assassinated. And I have to say that you do get a very strange feeling that an assassination of such importance took place there. But we are facing a very similar situation. And it is of great concern. And it's not just that we may be sucked into a conflict. And I mean, in many ways, what we've done is we've been sucked into a conflict in Ukraine. And some people are likening the situation in Ukraine to the situation in the Middle East. But the fact of the matter is that these brush fire wars, as they're known, often are so serious that what they do is they actually pull all sorts of people that weren't involved in the original conflict in together, so that the wider conflict starts to gather pace. And because it is a wider conflict, there is nobody to stop it. The warning by several intelligence agencies in Britain that we may well be facing terrorist activity in this country as a result of this war really brings it home. Really brings it home. It's almost impossible nowadays for a conflict to take place anywhere 5,000 miles away, right, not to have some sort of impact. Here in the UK and elsewhere, of course, we're not exclusively targeted by terrorists because of this. We do have the danger of suddenly finding us walking along a street and some terrorist act wraps us into it. Even more so is where there are events taking place with a group of people. In other words, a large number of our citizenry all meshed together. That is a very tempting target for dedicated terrorist groups. There seems no end to this conflict. And the defense minister is certainly going to and I'm talking about the Israeli defense minister, is going to not hold back anything, no stops from the speeches that he's delivered. It is a serious, serious, serious matter. one that we all must take seriously. And the name calling should stop. That is, the funny thing is the one side is calling it's the pot calling the kettle black. Look what you did, you naughty people, and then immediately go and do the same thing. But we think nothing of people using abusive language about somebody that doesn't agree with them politically or spiritually, ethnically, religiously. It's within all of us, and we find it difficult to stop. So deep has hatred managed to take root in our souls. I'm not a do-good Christian. I'm not a do-good anything for that matter. But I like to think that my view of somebody is made up on his immediate actions, not because of his skin color, not because of his religious beliefs, not of his racial origin, not of his sex or his sexual proclivity. None of those things matter, and they shouldn't matter to other people. Having said that, I do think that some groups invite problems where none may exist if they would just live in harmony. In the way that perhaps we were meant to. I can see somebody moving behind me. Good morning. Good morning. He's got his back to us, so he doesn't know that I'm speaking to him. Never mind. Let's go down to our own potter's wheel for a minute or two and take a breath. Why? This thing plays up, whether it does, but it does. So we just have to put up with it, don't we? Yes, we do. Right, we'll be going to New York in half an hour. Just at the moment, but this television station has 2 or 3 themes. One is we are very hot on crime and the law, as you can see from us having the two barristers, the two Bs, on each Monday and Friday, and little bits and pieces in between. Secondly, we are very keen on history, because you cannot walk in the street outside the hotel where we broadcast from without treading on a piece of history. Lewis is a historic town, not only because of its longevity. As best we can tell, it was formed, or it was active as a community centre as early as 800 AD, and got its name when Alfred the Great gave it market status. And thirdly, something like the second biggest commercial sector in the world is tourism. And we have a lot to offer in terms of tourists. And so we try hard to promote Lewis and all that it has to offer without being sly about it to our overseas viewers, of which we have many. We had a whole variety of interesting gangsters. I mean, Lord Lucan ended his days here, as best we can tell. At least this is the place that he was last seen. And I don't know why, but we can't seem to download a video that I've got, because we've had another colourful characters here. And I'm afraid somebody is calling, but they obviously are not somebody that knows me, because they would know that I can't take calls at this time of the day. And there we go. We'll put that aside. And we're back, aren't we, to this silly situation that I have, where the technology gets on top of me. It really does, and I have no idea why it behaves the way that it does. None whatsoever. And then I have to fart around like this, which is not at all pleasant for anybody. But I tell you what, I'm just going to play this if I can, because it may or may not be the piece that I want. Break an Egg, of course, is the name of our morning program. We swap that around from time to time. with the two Bs, because if they have to be in court, they normally have to be in court by 11 o'clock, sorry, by 10 o'clock, and so we put them on at 8 and swap our news roundup to 9. And that's where we are at the moment, taking a look at what's happening in the news and trying hard to have a little look at other things. But it's defying us at the moment, absolutely defying us. And it's absolutely crazy that this should happen, but it does. It's not going to play ball. Oh dear, oh dear, dear, dear. It's just so silly. Just so silly. What on earth? What this? No, I'm sorry, but the silly thing is that it just defies what's happening. It doesn't do anything that it's supposed to, and that's really is a bit worrying. No. Sorry to put you through all this, but I'm sure, like me, you get really upset when things really do try hard to thwart you. And they are thwarting me at the moment as I search for this program, which I know is here, but which will not appear. And the whole system is just wicked. That's what it is. It's wicked. Well, I'm going to have to say goodbye in a minute and then come back in 10 or 15 minutes time. I don't want to waste your time while we go scouting around, trying hard to find out what's gone wrong this time. It never, ever seems to it never seems to do the same thing twice. And of course, that really is not true. It's the operator. It's me. I have no idea why these things just will not behave when I want them to behave. Let's look. Instead of watching me get frustrated, let's just take 5 minutes, and we'll be back in 5 more. Yeah.